Good morning, everybody. It's Friday and it's real estate unwrapped. Yes, good morning.
Unwrapped, yes.
All right.
Timing.
Yes, it is. Let's on. Okay, so where are we? We're sharing some things here. So I'm sitting in the office. I know, sitting in the office with Ed, and we have Israel at home. All right, and
Hello.
to discuss, and we feel actually Israel brought in the subject to choose from. Sorry, my nose is running. It was freezing in that office.
Yeah, I still have my jacket on and it's freezing in here. So
It's okay. So we were discussing the importance of knowing your market when you're actually working in real estate. That's a very important factor, right? And
how important is it though? How important is it really to know your market? I mean, a lot of us kind of just open doors, and a lot of us actually dive deep. I think, right? A lot of us do a lot of research, looking into the market. So this is going to be a fun topic. At least we're going to try to make it as fun as possible because there's a lot of searching involved.
Yeah.
So
right, but it's everything is at our fingertips, and we have a lot of tools and everything. And what I think is when you're brand new, you don't really know how to situate yourself as an agent. So I think we're going to give you a few tips, and not tricks, because there are no tricks, but a few tips on what to do and where to go, and just sound like a mayor of the town and a professional, right? So we had the that concept of mayor of the town. What do you guys want to start with? Because this is live. This is rehearsed, but very lightly. So
is it rehearsed though? Do we really rehearse this?
We sort of prepare. All right, guys. What did we say we were going to start with? I had the seller who just threw me off right now.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So the idea and the concept is, and Israel, like we had a good talk about this earlier this week, right? The topic was kind of leaning towards trying to run your town, being the mayor. How can you be someone that's knowledgeable in your area, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're starting real estate for the first time, whether you just got your license yesterday or you've been doing this for quite some time, there's some tips and tricks that we might not tricks. You said no tricks, just tips.
No tricks, just tips.
So there might be some tips that we shy away from as we get more acclimated in the industry, we get comfortable. But you know what? These are some things that we can always tie into. I always say going back to the basics. You know what I mean? So
Right.
What we could do is kind of kick it off right there. So Israel, I want to ask you, because I know we're doing this, man.
Right.
When it comes to mayoring the town, all right. Your campaign. I mean, that's what it is. Everybody's going to run for the realtor of their town.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So with that being said, look, there's a lot of new agents I'm sure out there that want to know, how can I start, right? Like if I was to go to a new area, if I was to try to open up in a new area and start business there, what are some of the tools or what are some of the recommendations you would give to someone trying to kickstart or jumpstart their business in a new area?
Well, first of all, you start farming at the market that you want to be in. I mean, honestly, start farming your neighborhood or, again, an area that you really want to start selling in. And by doing so, you start with your MLS that you live in, right? So here we have our own MLS, which is one key, but then there's so many other MLSs in the areas. So what you do is you start looking at the MLS numbers, the generator statistics to see what is selling in that farming market that you're in. Once you do that, you start going into other, websites that are around and that are accessible to us. You have the RPRs, you Remind, so on and so forth, the Zillows, the Street Easies, and start looking at those numbers, right? And you start creating, a habit for yourself. Start doing it like every morning. If you do it, it only takes about 10 minutes or so. Every morning, just see what the market is willing to give, what the market has been doing. New homes have been coming to the market, what new homes have been just, gone to contracts, and what's actually been closing in the recent time. Mm-hmm. Therefore, you actually have an ability when somebody asks you, how's the market? You can actually just say to them, you know what, the market is doing blah, 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 blah.
Instead of just saying, oh, the market is so hot, you can actually come up.
You can actually come up with some numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Because the one thing is for sure, and we've always said, and at least, I consistently say this, is knowing the numbers is knowing your business, right? As long as you know your numbers, you know how the business works, then it works really well. See, my market is pretty much for sales, Queens, And I actually, know most of what's going on as far as the numbers of co-ops, because that's what we're inundated with. We have a lot of co-ops in our market, so we know that there is about a 4.5 or 4.9 inventory of, of things out there that need to be sold, right? There's over 375 listings or units out there that need to be sold. So those are things that I actually, look into. And again, it only takes 10 minutes. So the good thing about our MLS, which is really good to see and understand, is that what you're about to show in a few minutes is that you can actually set it up in a sort of way to know what just hit the market and what just came off the market, by looking at today's listings, right?
Yeah.
And that's a really fabulous way. You have 4 sales. You can create, in this case, it's 4 sales. He has Valley Streams, but you create it in the farming market that you want, all right? And it'll show you what's new and what's updated, right? From there, you just click on to, what is market statistics? What is that showing? And that will give you, words in terms of which we're going to go over later is absorption rate. That's also another thing to look into. So, you know what, guys? I think it's best that, depending on who's actually watching us right now, let's actually take a quick experiment and see who actually would like to see what their market is doing. So if anybody's watching, let us know where you're from and what market you want us to actually look at while we're talking.
Let's see.
Definitely. So I want to touch on that a little bit because I'm hearing that a lot, right? This happened to me the other day. I was on the phone to a listing agent. They have a listing. They're trying to sell it. It's been on the market since October of last year.
Yeah.
Right. And I told her we have an offer coming in. In my opinion, it's fair. I did the research in the area. We got Williamsburg, part of Brooklyn.
Oh, Williamsburg. Williamsburg, we may have very little of it.
Yeah, because
that's part of the
Brooklyn MLS.
Or Rebney, which is a lot more Rebney. So let's
It's okay.
Let's do
Just keep it. No, before we do Rego Park, go ahead, finish.
So I'll put this in there. The next question is going to be in Rego Park. We're going to use Rego Park only because I am from Queens. So no, I actually don't have a lot of, in our MLS, like Gigi said, we don't have a lot of listings from Brooklyn because they use other platforms. We have a lot of listings in Queens, Long Island. We're now expanding over to the Hudson Gate area. We're going up to Westchester. That's it.
Dutchess and all that. So we're talking about Rego Park, but let's narrow down. You guys want to explore co-ops, condos, or you want to explore residential 1 to 4 family?
Type it in the chat box. Go.
Just go for it.
So as we finish the story real quick, okay? We did some research in the neighborhood. We thought it was a fair price where we were coming in. All right. As we presented that, the listing agent's response to me, we weren't coming in at asking. The agent's response to me was, do you know how the market is? The market is hot. I said, I know the market is hot. But if the market was hot, how come your listing didn't sell a long time ago? It's been on the market since October. She's like, you don't know the area is going up. I said, I do know because we also use another platform called Geodata to try to see what the neighborhood, what some of the houses in the area sold for.
Yeah.
Where we were coming in was basically what this property was selling for, in the past 2-3 months. Market's hot. That's not going to solve your problem. You can't just expect to say the market's hot. Yeah, well, you've been listed for 3 years.
So we got the answer. We're going to do a Rego Park residential. So it's not, we're going to use market statistics that are going to show you what the market is doing in the realm of residential real estate, which is 1 to 4 family. So we're looking at the 3 months previous.
Right. So these are going to be numbers that you've seen 3 months. Oh, there it is.
Go and change your tab.
No, it's good there. It's on.
It's very good.
All right. Perfect. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit so that way we can all see it.
Just remove the banner too, so we have
perfect.
More room. All right.
So let's break this down, guys. This is the market statistic reports. All right. This is what we're looking at as far as Rego Park and residential. This is everything that has been happening in the past 3 months. So as I asked you guys, okay, and gals, Gigi, all right, what's, as far as an agent goes, what is the most, this is all important, but what are some of the top 3 things to look at when you're looking at the market statistic reports?
I'm going to give you quickly. I look pretty much at everything, and I'm going to look at the activity of new listings versus what closed is very important to me. I'm going to look at the listing price versus selling price to see there is big discrepancy there. And then I'm going to look at supply and demand, which is huge. And in the end, the absorption rate, which is the absorption time, which basically translates to how long will it take to sell the total inventory right there of 41 listings that we have currently in Rego Park 124 family house. And it tells us that it would take 4.6 months, which is good news. The Rego Park residential market is very healthy. It's a strong seller's market because the absorption time is below 6 months. All right, so this is a very good indicator. I'm going to look at the trend. You could see, like, as far as prices, where it was listing price or selling price from April 20th, which was right at the beginning of COVID, until the madness when we started opening up in June and July, price went skyrocketing and then went back down and back in the winter again. And it's finally looking like it's restabilizing itself. Then I'm going to look at the supply and demand, which is still going to follow the trend of what was happening during COVID, right? And you could see that in blue was the supply line. So there was, coming out of COVID, there was a lot of houses for sale, you know, which impacted the price. The price were actually going up, but nothing was selling much. And then it went back down right around the holidays. I'm talking about the Jewish holidays. And then supply went very, very low in the winter, right? And now it's going back down. And pretty much, if you look at the end, it's sort of restabilizing that itself, where you're going to meet how much demand there is and people are going to get their homes. You know, right now it's pretty healthy. If it goes back up, it means we have too many houses on the market that we're going to have to sell.
Yeah, because you can kind of see, like, for example, in Rego Park, it's almost like that demand is kind of staying steady
over the last year and 2 years, you know. And those are very important things to look at. I mean, we see
so this whole report is important.
Yes, absorption time. You see, like, it went down by 12% over the last 2 months, meaning things are getting much, much better for sellers.
So for some of the people that maybe don't know absorption, because absorption is kind of it's a term that we use. So how would you define the absorption rate, Israel?
The absorption rate is based on the amount of listings that are available right now divided by pretty much what's been sold. And that's how the absorption rate is, you know, sort of calculated. And the way you determine that is by a certain number. So once it hits a certain threshold, I believe I would say 6 or 7 months, it will determine whether or not it becomes either a seller's market or a buyer's market. Now, before we actually had a certain point where we discussed where someone can see a buyer's market and seller's market, and it goes back to supply and demand. You know, supply and demand is really, the more supply it is and less demand, it becomes a seller's market. The more demand it is and less supplies, it becomes a buyer's market in that case.
Let me try to just define that absorption rate in one sentence. So an absorption rate is actually in a number of months in this MLS, is the number of months it would take to sell all the available listings. And where do we find it? As somebody was asking, we find this when you're a member of One Key MLS. You're able to find it in your info, in your listing tab under market statistics. This is where you find it. All right, so this is a two-step operation. We can go back to it and just, you know, you choose your zip or you choose your town. You choose whether you're going to deal with residential, co-ops, condos, rental if you want it, and commercial as well. Or, you know, it's better. I think it's better to have one of each instead of, you could do everything together, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you could
have merge different zips, but that's not, you know, it gets complicated.
Yeah.
Since real estate is local, I would keep it to 1 or 2 zips, you know, and it gives you a good idea of market trend in that area. All right, understanding how to read the graphs, what went on 6 months ago, a year ago, to what's going on right now. You know, and it's easy when somebody's asking you how the market is doing, in our neighborhood, you can definitely answer them once you have all those numbers there. And then we had this lovely market generator also available on OneKey MLS. Where are we? Do you have it? You have it? Yes. So this will give you an idea of how the prices have been doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Over.
I gotta switch screens now.
Over, it's going to give you up to 24-month graph to give you a good idea of what was going on. So you're going to go back to the same as a house. So let's go back to Rego Park.
Yeah, let's do that.
And let's go back to residential on click co-op and any. So that would be 1 to 4 family. And let's click the average. Yes, not median.
Still 3 months?
Yes, but what it's going to do.
First, it's going to load a little bit.
You have a little guy in the back of the computer, like pedaling really hard, and a little bike making it work. That's why it's taking so long.
This is taking.
That's why the little guy doesn't pedal enough.
No, I just
like,
woke him up.
There you go.
That's what it was.
All right. So there it is. So you have average sold price in Rego Park. Okay. And what is nice, it's going to show you those little bars right here to the left. I'm going to show you that prices have been a little bit soft. Okay. Over the last 24 months. But yes, and that's going to be shown a little bit on the graph. When people are going to think that, especially sellers think they're going to have a $2 million house, because last year, every year things are increasing 10 to 15%. It ain't so. All right.
What I like to add on to that is, aside from the graphs, these are good tools that you can use to present.
Yeah.
I say it. Actually, I didn't say it. Jay-Z said it. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. If you present the numbers, you shouldn't have a hard time getting your point across. That's the idea of it. But here you can see a difference in change in market, compared to last year. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a fluctuation, but again, look back at the graph. Educate yourself in what's out there, so that way when you're talking to people, you don't just tell them the market is hot. You got to let them know why. Not all the market. I don't think all the markets in Queens are hot, right?
No.
There's some, right, Israel? There's some markets here in my own backyard that is not hot. It is cold. It actually feels like December still.
And for different reasons, you have economical reasons. Sometimes you have political reasons that have, on the local scene that have a big, huge impact on that, and things that are happening in the community board, decisions that were made that are not necessarily always good for the residents of that zip.
Yeah.
And that affects the neighborhood. If you want, we can take a look at co-op condos in Kew Gardens, which I live in Kew Gardens, and I truly feel affected by the community board and city decision on certain things. I don't want to become political and just give you what's going on, but it does affect our market, especially the co-op condo market, which coming out of COVID on the smaller units might not be the most desirable item because people are looking for more space in homes. So let's go with that. And let's look at co-op condo and Kew Gardens. I would put 11415 because sometimes people put Kew Garden Hills 1.5. Yes, here you go. Over the last 2 months, right?
2 or 3.
It's fine, same thing. Yeah, same thing. It's not going to change much. So in here, it looks like we're having more listings than before. The prices are soft. You're seeing that middle line right here. I'm pointing at something. Where yes, prices from last year haven't budged much. Okay, the demand has been the same for years. No real influx of population right there, and the inventory has been a little bit nuts, just like everywhere else, right? And when you're looking at the absorption time at the bottom of the page, we're probably coming out of a seller's market, but there is still almost a 7-month supply, worth of supply when it comes to co-ops and condos. And mind you, the zip code has about 15,000 residents. It's not a lot of people, and there are a total of 95 co-ops studios to 3-bedroom. That's a lot for this small little neighborhood, right?
So being that the absorption rate, as we see it here, is plus 6.8 months, would you say this would be considered more of a buyer's market?
It is. It is a buyer's market.
So in just one town over, we went from a seller's market to a buyer's market.
Yes, just in less than a mile. It just went 2 miles to Rego Park. It takes me 35 minutes.
Rego Park.
To walk there. Yeah.
You can walk from Rego Park to Kew Gardens faster.
Oh yeah, like from here. Yes. Most
especially
likely.
at rush hour. But that's awesome. So these are tools that you guys have access to. Now I know there was a question there. Donnie had asked, sorry man, we've kind of been flying through. He said, how do I get the geodata? So that's a great question.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to connect with, I believe it's one of the lenders from Freedom Mortgage, the home team.
I will text you. We're gonna need you being part of the Alliance movement. We have the unique opportunities to work with people that are able to give us, and those are like great gifts that we receive. Give us tools that we can work with. So they're gonna give you an account with all the counties in the state where geodata is a tool that has all public record and helps you with comparables. It's a program that actually appraisers are using. So once we're done with this, shoot me a text with your license number, your name, your email, and of course your office, which office you're with. I think you're with our office, so definitely we'll make sure that we send this to one of our loan officer at Freedom Mortgage, who kindly offers that to us, and it should be back in your email, the login information within 7 to 10 days. I hope this answered the question.
I think it did. That was full detail.
Yes.
7 to 10 business. I didn't even know that.
Yes.
But for you guys, this is what geodata looks like. This is a service that you have to pay for, but like Gigi said, through our alliance
partners,
our partners, we've been able to partner up with a lot of lenders who give us free access to this.
Yeah.
But definitely follow up with us if you do want some access, and we'll try to get you guys connected. All right.
Right. So next week we're also going to have something pretty important to know what the market is doing on the national level. My nose is still running. I'm like an old lady, like the witch with the runny nose. I
don't think our viewers know who you're talking about, because that's an old movie.
Okay, it's okay. I know. I'm from the 60s, man. Next week, we're going to cover at our weekly Alliance Movement meeting something quite important that probably too many agents dismiss, because maybe the content is just a lot of stats, but we're having slides and it's illustrated. We're doing a monthly market report, which is offered by Keeping Current Matters, and they put together like something on the national level, and then we're going to look at more regional, statistics, which is kind of great and gives you an idea of not only pricing, but also mortgage data and home equity, like equity, how equity is doing, and so on and so forth, traffic, and here and there. And that will give you a more concise overall idea of how the market is doing nationwide. And that's gonna make you sound much more intelligent, actually, once you know that. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Well, we had another question here.
Yes.
No, that wasn't it. Sorry.
No. What's the purpose of geodata?
Ooh,
that's an interesting one. So let me just put that on the screen. Geodata has, of course, all the property data in the New York State and each county. You can have access to a lot of things on RPR as well, which you get through your MLS when you're with one key. But what it does, it's going to give you a lot of information on the properties. Each given property you're going to do a search on. You're going to have public record. You're going to have access to the building, to the Department of Building. You're going to have access to violations. You're going to have access to certificate of occupancies. And then you're going to be able to do comparables. And then if you want to go a step further, you're going to be able to do a comparable market analysis, which we'll cover very soon. I think we should do that, guys, right?
Yeah.
And show you how you can do, it's got market that are great because they do self-adjustments that appraisers are using. Fantastic tool. It's a lot. It's a lot.
If you do have access to it, play around with it. But there's a lot of information. We'll give
you a training. I think we should.
A geodata training. That's gonna be so fun. We have to give things away on that one. But yeah, I mean, you can find information there. Sometimes not everything would sell through the MLS platform. Sometimes things are sold, privately. So at least you'll be able to find that information. So it's good for additional comps sometimes.
Right. And it's good. They also have now they added a section which uses 2 national appraisal companies that are going to give you an estimated value of the property with their rating of how much % they think the pricing they're giving is accurate based on the comps that are around, which is kind of good as well. And they've been pretty much on the nose, and that would be for a property in average condition. And those are great, great tools. So guys, let's repeat it. You have your MLS. Well, we're talking about one key. We have market statistics. We have market report generator, which you're going to find on your info center page. We have not discussed the listing statistics. There is also one good one, which gives me a good idea of how many days things have been on the market. When, let's say, I do a search for 1 family house, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, I'm going to be able to get a lot more information as well on MLS. Do you guys do that? Israel, do you use that when you're searching for listings, when you're going to work with a buyer or a seller?
I do, yeah.
Do you want to show that? Not the property, in general, what's going on in the neighborhood, average days on the market, average listing price, average sales price. All those are super important data that actually, even when you're working with a buyer.
You're talking about something, for example. So, all right, so you're sitting with the seller. Is that what we're talking about? You're sitting with the seller and you want to basically run numbers?
So usually what I do is give them an overview of what's been going on over the last year. Because over the last years, you would have listings that came on the market, some that sold, some that are still on the contract, and some that have no longer on the market, expired or withdrawn. So let's go back to that 1 family house in Rego Park we had, right?
Okay. So we're looking at unavailable, right?
Let's do both available and unavailable. And let's do Rego Park. Let's even go further. Let's do a 1 family. 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Yeah, you can put 2 to 3 bathrooms. Sometimes they have extra bathrooms someplace, whatever.
We'll leave it to refine.
And let's do one of those attached or semi-detached house.
Yeah, so we don't have to really market them.
Yeah, because let's not have, what are you putting here? Attached and semi-detached. Click this one, and then the other one, semi-detached. Perfect. And then you can go down to the listing date. And I usually go on listing date. I put T minus 365, which means anywhere from today to up to 365 days ago. And we do the search. So right here, it gives me, what's the number? How many listings do we have?
Well, let's look at this.
All right, let's go back. Go quick, because I don't think our audience seen what it was. So once you have your listings, you're going to go on statistic button, which is in the gray bar, right? And this is to me, this is a fantastic tool.
I like using this too.
Because you're going to go to your buyer who wants to make an offer, okay? And sometimes they may want to come in really low or super high. And right then and there, you will say, yo guys, over the last year, there've been 12 attached and semi-detached homes, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom in Rego Parks that came on the market. Out of that, you want to go back?
Here we go.
Out of that, you can see on the right-hand side, only 2 of them closed right here, right? And good news is 2 of them are on the contract, the pending ones, which is lower. And what's on the market right now is, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 available. So 4 are still on the market. 1 was canceled and 3 were withdrawn. So people put their houses on the market and decided to take them out of the market, not even waiting for it to expire. Maybe things didn't work out. And let's look at the price. So that's going to give you an idea of what went on. So the listing price, and you look at the original listing price, and here you see that the average listing price was $828,000 and change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there would be at least one adjustment in price, usually a price reduction in that manner, back to an average of $800,000, and then the sales price would be $788,000. So yeah, you have basically from 828 to 728, we're having, how much is that? 10, 20, 30, 40,000? Yes, $40,000 price difference with an average of over 3 months on the market, 101 days on the market, which shows you that sellers were pricing a little bit high and settled down for much lower. You agree with me, Israel, on this one?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So those are important data to be able to read because it's all there. You can see what's going on. So you can educate your buyer, you can educate your seller and say, here, you want a $1.5 million for your attached house? It is not going to happen. You still have an average of below $800,000 right now for a sale. And we've seen what was going on the market. The prices are still a little bit soft. Even though, the activity is picking up, prices are stabilized. And this is how I would interpret those figures and basically just give them back to my buyers or sellers. Really, really important to just practice, just pick your town, pick different topics, get to know what's going on, RPR, we have this question, which is Realtor Property Resource, is not the same as Geodata. It's actually offered by National Association of Realtor. And this one gives you some property information on every single piece of property in America. Right, and you can still run comps. So you have another tool right there. Yes. I'm done talking. I talk too much.
A lot of tools.
Yes.
No, that's good. I mean, you were going on, so I couldn't stop you.
Talk too much. I'm done.
That's cool. No, so I mean, look, so to kind of bring it back and tie it all together, right? The idea of all of these tools are just to help you be more knowledgeable about your industry, be more knowledgeable about the towns that you're working in. That's all it really comes down to. So to tie it all together, you're jumping in a new town, right? And you're using these tools. Now you sound like a professional, even though it's your first time. You know what I mean?
You don't have to be from this town to be knowledgeable about it. We have every single data available to make you knowledgeable about it.
100%.
You can go to Suffolk County and successfully sell out there because you have that data.
So now one thing we are facing here is that there is the, I guess, state of emergency. We can't really, I guess, call people. So
no.
As far as marketing ourselves, what's a way that we can do it where we're flying under the radar, where we're not breaking any rules and regulations, but we're still trying to generate some business for ourselves? How would you guys go about that?
What do you guys do if you do anything?
So throw it in the chat box if you have any ideas. But some of the things that I like to do is interact, right? Sometimes you want to follow up with some of your past clients, people you've interacted with, people you've come across, bring up some more information. Don't call them and say, hey, you still in the market? Yeah, okay, cool. Call them and say, hey, look, I remember you were looking in Forest Hills. I saw that the prices in Forest Hills might have shifted, might have changed. There's more properties on the market. There's less properties on the market. Are you still looking in Forest Hills, or are you open to other areas?
Mm-hmm. Inviting them to your house for coffee?
You could do that. It depends on how close you guys are, right? It depends on how close you guys are. You can invite them to, but I think what Donnie was trying to say was using the term inviting is like, for example, if you have an open house or something like that, you want to get the information out there, so you're inviting the guests or the neighbors.
There are services, again, if you have a budget, you can do mailing. If you don't have the budget, there are services, and we can discuss it where you can actually still send emails to the residents in your area. Again, you don't want to spam. So I would advise, if you want to go that route, just give some useful information, like nothing spamming. And of course, with all the platforms that we have, especially with kvCORE, if that person is not interested, they can unsubscribe very easily and we don't have to bother them ever again. But there is, like, as a new agent, get yourself a name tag, spend $15. That's all it is. Walk around with your name tag and the logo of your company. Go to the supermarket, interact with people. I bet you, and that's what I used to do as a younger agent. Now I'm so big, I don't need to. It's like, hey, Gigi. But no, I used to wear it, and people will ask you questions. Yeah. Oh, you're in real estate. Let me ask you. And it's a natural thing. And this is how you will be able to just start, breaking up a nice little conversation about real estate. Wear that tag. When you brand new, you don't have enough contacts, don't have enough leads. That's your lead maker, right?
It's true. I want to actually shout out, and this is pretty neat because they're friends of ours, but Design for Agents.
Oh, yeah.
They make it so easy for you as a realtor to basically ask if they're looking for real estate or if they need assistance in real estate, because they have garments that say, ask me about real estate. So if you're somebody who doesn't like to speak, who doesn't like to speak to people, especially when they're people you don't know,
wear a hat.
Wear a hat. Wear a shirt. Throw on the gear. Yeah. I can tell you, I've actually seen it happen. I was hanging out with Alex and Amanda one time, and it happened in front of my face. Like, they were just asking them about real estate. And meanwhile, we weren't even in New York State. We were in another state. You know what I mean? And that's crazy. But they didn't even have to really announce it. It was just on them. So if you guys are shy, look into that. Design. I think it's designed by agents or for agents.
Designs for agents.
Design for agents.
By the way, Amanda and Alex, make it for tall people. Because I need things with very, very long sleeves. He's trying to make it for tall people so we can buy it. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
So, guys, I mean, look, we don't want to kind of keep going on the tools. The idea is to go out there and connect.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Yes.
Get the information about your area. Get familiar with the area. Understand what's going on, and go out and be yourself. Make it a casual conversation. It doesn't necessarily have to gear that way, but you'll be surprised just by having a conversation with somebody. They're going to ask you, hey, Gigi, what do you do for a living? And you can respond however you see fit.
Well, if you have your name tag,
it'll say it.
It would say, like, let's say Donnie, like licensed real estate professional at EXP. They know, and they will definitely come to me too.
Or if you wear one of those Design for Agent shirts, they're gonna just ask you flat out. They're not even gonna ask you for your name. They're just gonna say, "Hey, you're in real estate? Yes. How can I help you?"
Yeah, on casual days, I like to wear those. I have a funny T-shirt that always brings me a lot of interaction. It's called Real Estate Chick. There is a little yellow chick on it, and that's what
like a little chick.
Why not? And it just sparks conversation, and those things are great in your neighborhood. People know I sell real estate. Every single merchant in my little town knows I'm doing real estate.
See? And I think I've noticed a lot of people now, especially on Instagram, man, it's huge. I feel like everybody's now using that specifically for advertisement, but you see a lot of agents that are going out there and meeting with some of the local restaurants, right? They're interacting with some of the local restaurants. How cool would it be you jump into a new neighborhood and you're kind of introducing yourself, you connect with that business person and you're like, hey, I'm checking out this location. I'm here in Forest Hills. This is a great pizza spot. Guess what? Now that pizzeria guy's going to remember, or gal's going to remember who you are. You came into the neighborhood. You might leave some business cards behind. They might know somebody that they can recommend you to. And if you show, again, your true colors, I'm a firm believer in that. If you just be yourself and make sure you're educated on what's going on, people would listen. People would understand. Yeah. People would just have that conversation.
That brought me the wonderful idea of my actually next door neighbor in my building is an Instagram influencer. She's got those great posts on not only food, of course, food is always something, but she also some lifestyle, like she's always promoting Black-owned businesses or women-owned businesses. And I think I will have to give her a shout out. And I just thought of it. I'm like, why am I
should.
shying away from that? She's doing great things. And I shout her out, she'll shout me out, and it's going to be great.
There you go. There's a lot of shout outs going on.
Yes, but that helps. Just put yourself out there, no matter which way. Get to know your market, know your stats, know your numbers, practice it. Like Israel said, get on your MLS every day, see what the market is doing, see what's coming on the market, what's been sold, what's expired. You'll get an idea, become the mayor of the town.
Yeah.
And then when the nice days are coming back and we can all get back to normal, go back and talk to your neighbors. Door knocking was a fantastic tool to meet everybody, to start getting that farming, your farming area in check. You don't even have to go and just solicit business. Just say hey to people that are outside, or walking around. That's just sometimes a great thing to just build. Share the business card, exchange phone numbers, and it's going to come back. I know it will.
It's connections.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But besides some of these tools that we're using right now, outside of that, I mean, how else can we run for mayor in our towns? Like, what else can we do to try to generate that presence?
I'd like to hear other ideas. That would be great.
If you guys are listening and you guys have ideas that are working for you, throw it in the chat box. This isn't just solely for us. I mean, this isn't just for us to give you guys information, because at the end of the day, I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I'd like to just get more information.
I am joking, but no, it's true. We'd like to learn from all of you guys. You can bring any ideas, is really welcome, and let's share with the group. Let's share since it's on my public Facebook page, let's share with the world. So much love to give. It's great.
A lot of love, like Bob Marley said.
Right.
All right, guys.
One love.
I think this covered it. Israel, you want to add something?
No, I think you guys covered it a lot, so I think we did a really good job.
So. Everything, right?
Yep, I think everything is covered.
Right. If you guys are interested in a GeoData account, please shoot me a text, shoot me a WhatsApp.
Yeah. Reach out to any of us.
We'll hook you up, or even Ed or Israel.
Yeah. And what I would add to that is, look, some of the other tools, if you guys have any specific questions about it, just shoot us a text message, give us a call. If we can help you guys out, we'll be more than happy.
Just get you started. Sometimes it's a little bit scary, or like you're impressed by all this thing, you don't know how to just get started. We'll tell you how to do it quick, because in the end it's very easy to use, very, very user friendly. So do not hesitate to also send us text messages, private messages, and tell us what you guys want to discuss in our future broadcasts. All right, please, we'd like to hear from you. All right, so until next week, let's have a great weekend.
It's beautiful outside.
It is.
Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Talk to you soon.